I get this question all the time. Which business should I start? And I don't think you should start a business. Through the process of starting a business and failing 8 times to working my way up to owning 3 5-figure business, I believe I've learned many lessons in this hard long journey. And the most important one is to know that you shouldn't start a business without any skill set. So growing up, I was always that kid who was always on social media, Google, I finding what am I gonna do next, how can I make money online, what's the next biggest hustle, But being honest, I never drew to myself as someone who can be in 9 to 5 job world, that kind of thing. Got courage, get a degree, find a job, work for 4 years, and retire with nothing in your bank. I thought that system won't work for me. I thought maybe I should start working on my own or become a freelancer or owning a business. That was my mindset since I was a child. Imagine if you could have a 5-figure business right now in your 20s. Imagine how it could change your life. That's what I need to talk about today.
Come on, let's pray about this.
I'm going to show you how I went from selling business cards on streets to owning 3 5-figure business. My name is Sangwaime. I help people make money from their skills. So if you like that kind of content, subscribe and like this video. Now you are probably wondering, what's the quickest way out? How do I get my freedom back? What are the most profitable skills out there? To be honest, I had to make a lot of sacrifices and work hard to make this work, but working hard in one way is not gonna cut it. You need to be smart and meticulous to make this work. Ultimately, I had to start a business. Usually when you say you started a business, people think like you start a multi-million-dollar company, but that's not always the case.
Are you talking about money?
So a business I'm talking about is about taking your skill set and providing value to the marketplace. This means, first of all, you should know the basics of starting a business, like what skills can you bring to the marketplace and which demand gap on the market can you bridge. For me, I remember when I got out of high school, I had this cousin of mine living at home. So he had on his laptop, he had this application called Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop. And I was always fascinated, like any other graduate from high school. So I started running Photoshop and I asked him if he could maybe ask his boss so he can let me take trainings at his company. So I went there, I started running Photoshop, I started running Illustrator, I started running Adobe InDesign, all those Adobe applications for graphic design, because everyone there was always busy because they had a lot of clients every day. So I had to make sure that I can learn on my own. I figured maybe I have to teach myself. I had to watch more tutorials, read books, like things like that. So I eventually got tired of that. After a few months, I had enough experience with Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and other Adobe products and applications. So I started knocking on new local establishments in my area, asking them if I can maybe design their logos or flyers or billboards, things like that. So maybe I can make like a couple of hundreds every month, but I had no clientele. The first mistake I made was thinking that I'll be successful for maybe working hard, but the hours you work doesn't justify the outcomes if you don't have any systematic strategy to accomplish your objectives and your goals. I remember, man, after a few months, I was broke to the point I couldn't even afford a bus ticket carriage. So through the process of figuring out how do I escape courage and maybe do something else, I was broke, I didn't have anything at that moment, I had no cash flow at all. So I stumbled upon these Peter McKinnon videos on how to make money online with photography. Then that's when my mind changed. I thought, maybe I can do this. Photography has always been fascinating to me. So I watched many tutorials as I can, like beginners photography. Then there was a program at the bank in our local community, so they were lending like $5,000 to some new business. So I went there, they gave me $5,000. I ordered 2 cameras from China, one for videos and another for photography. Then I started my photography journey that time. But every project that I did, it was a disaster. Everything was wrong, the pictures were wrong, they're terrible. So I started to think like how I am a loser, but I kept watching many tutorials as I can until I became a pro fashion photographer. But you know what they say? Not everything is black and white. After 2 months, someone stole my video camera, which was worth $3,000. That was a shocking moment for me in my life because I haven't even paid a quarter of my loan to the bank. Then I remained with one camera. So I took a moment of reflection. Then I thought, wow, what am I gonna do next? I was kind of desperate at the time. So I got an idea of creating an application or where people can go and book my photography business because at the moment I wasn't getting any clients. So that's what I did. I started building this application. I watched many tutorials. I had some experience from college of designing application. Then I designed application. Then once it was over, COVID hit like a storm out of nowhere.
Words like
Isolation,
social distancing,
the lockdown.
Everything was closed, nothing was being done at the moment. This was like an end to me and my business. I had $5,000 to pay at the bank and I had no other way to make any money at that time. So I took a moment to reflect on what I was missing in my life, and after running these 4 business fundamentals, my life changed completely for good. I like to call them BGCs: branding, goal, strategy, and selling. So what I mean by branding, this is a process of creating a specific identity for yourself or your business or your company in the mind of your target audience or prospects. And being honest, I wasn't doing any of that before. As social media consumption was skyrocketing during the pandemic, that's when I realized that I needed to go full-time in content creation and selling online courses and other products and make money from it. So I ended up creating a new website and I called it sasu.com. That's when I started selling my photography coaching, graphic design, data analysis, blogging, and making reviews of software product and tools, hence making money from affiliate commissions and sponsorships. But something was missing. This brings me to the second point, which is goals and strategy. I still remember I was going to this conference and met this tech guy. He was a founder of a company, a software company. We talked for a while, blah blah blah. So I was really fascinated, being among these successful people. So out of sudden, someone asked, "What do you do?" Then I was like, okay, well, I sell digital courses, things like that. Then they asked me, what is your vision? Not to embarrass myself, I just made up some BS and told them, think this and this. And that's when I realized that I needed financial freedom. And this brings me to the third point, which is strategy. How are you going to achieve those goals? What are your methods? What are the strategies you're going to use? With all the skills I had, I wasn't getting anywhere. And this is because even if you have big dreams and big goals and ambitions, if you don't have a systematic way of achieving your dreams, you can't be productive. So my way out of this issue was to find a niche for every single skill that I had, because I was just getting all this information and apply them on one platform. So I thought maybe if I have photography skills, I need to create a website for photography courses and coaching or things like that. If I have skills for blogging and product reviews, I need to make a website for that too, so that I can niche out and categorize my skills. I know you are probably thinking like, oh, it looks like you made your way in life. But the truth is, I was still living in my mom's basement. I had no cash flow. I was just living check by check. And this is not because I had no skills to put on the market, because I had like 5 masterclasses, but I was missing one single aspect, which is selling skills. I remember hosting my first webinar. I spent like $2,000, but I ended up making $60 that month. This time I was frustrated to the point that I was going to give up. just give up on all these things of making a living online because I was just losing everything that I had. There are some of the days that I would sit in my bedroom half day, pretty depressed. I was just like, I'm gonna go to school again and find a job, because at the moment I had no idea on what to do next. Then after a few days, all of a sudden, this guy, he's a multimillionaire business owner. He saw my content on Instagram, then he reached out, he asked me what I do, challenges I'm facing. Then I told him that I was like lacking some setting experiences because he's just a millionaire. It's not always a millionaire can reach out and ask you if he can be of any help. And he was like, okay, if you need me to be your mentor or your coach, you will need to pay $1,500 to join my masterclass. And I was like, oh, sir, I can't afford that at the moment. So I ended up watching his videos about how to sell. Then I bought some cheap courses about how to market your products using Facebook ads. And that opened my eyes to more opportunities, which eventually changed my life and helped me scale my business. Months later, I scaled my content creation and coaching program to a 5-figure business just because I learned this skill set of selling. You can have the best product in the world, but if you don't know how to sell it, you will not make any money from it. So to those who ask me what business they should start, it's about what skills should you learn, because I believe, like, for me, investing in these selling skills, which are going to help me in the long run, is the biggest investment that I ever made. I know some of you might be in this position where you feel like there's nothing working anymore, but I promise you, if you learn these 4 business fundamentals, which are branding, goals, strategy, and selling, I know you are going to lock every single business you should start. If you apply these 4 fundamentals, I believe that we get your success in time. If you want to know more about business, you can subscribe to my newsletter. The link is in the description below, where I share my most amazing tips on how to grow and scale your business. So see you next time.